Hello everyone and welcome to the RRLeagues GT3 Masters Championship. Today we have our season opener at the Shanghai circuit with a full live stream of all the proceedings. The drivers are currently in their final stages of practice whilst they are attending our driver briefing, and in about 12 minutes time they will hit the track for the first qualifying session of the season, followed by a 90-minute race. So as you can see on the screen, this is the GT3 Masters Championship by RRLeagues, one of the highest quality leagues around in race room at the moment. So what you will see today is some high quality racing with some very fast drivers, but as you will see, we also cater to the lesser aliens of the grid in our races. The championship starts today and will go on for 8 rounds. Let's just dive into the details of this championship. As I said, we have 8 rounds. Today we are in China for the Chinese Grand Prix with the Formula 1 circuit here, which we will dive into a bit later. And then in 2 weeks time, this is a bi-weekly series, we will go to Motegi, then we travel to Italy to Imola, then to the Sachsenring, Slovakia Ring, Zhuhai, then Bathurst, and to round things up on the 27th of November we will go to the Nürburgring for the final round of this championship. The races in this championship are of varying lengths. Today we have a 90-minute race. In 2 weeks time, Motegi Road Course will be a 60-minute race, and it will alternate between 90 and 60 minutes with the occasional 75 and 100-minute races in between. And the season finale is also 100 minutes at the Nürburgring. This is just to make it a bit more interesting strategy-wise, not having the same lengths every time. We will dive into the strategies a bit later and during the race. Tire wear is set to a 2 times multiplier. So there will be some strategy involved, whether you can make it on fuel for the 90-minute race. It's really touch and go today, it seems, and also for the tires you will need to figure out what pit strategy would be best. But of course in 2 weeks time it's a 60-minute race, and that strategy changes completely. So it keeps drivers on their toes, and not having the same lengths for all the tracks also makes a bit of sense. This series, as you can see, will be run on Wednesday evenings bi-weekly, so schedule that in, and if you want to follow this series completely, you can also subscribe to the channel so you get notified of future streams on this series. This is a GT3 championship, and we are not using all the GTR3 class cars for this one, which we did in our last GT3 championship. In this series there is only 6 cars that can be chosen, or that could be chosen, because the series is fully subscribed. We have the Audi R8 LMS against the BMW M6, the Callaway Corvette C7, the McLaren 650S, the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 911 GT3. So those 6 cars are divided over the grid, 6 drivers for each car, and this will provide a good spectacle and a good variation on different driving characteristics of the cars. We have a drivers' championship in this series, of course, that's the most important one. We have a teams championship. It's also quite standard, but then at rrleagues.com we also want to give some of the less fast guys something to fight for. That's why we have recently added the AM Cup, which every driver that did not get any career podiums at RRL in the past, I think it's 170 races that we have hosted so far. So if you did not get any podiums in those races so far, you will be entered in the AM Cup, and you fight for a whole separate championship with separate points, etc. So it gives everyone a bit of a chance to also fight for a championship, even though you are fighting to get into the top 10, for example. And then as the last championship, we have our Ironman Championship, which will just look at the laps driven by everyone at the end of the race. So we will multiply laps driven by the track length. Then we will know how many kilometers everyone has driven. That will be summed up for all the races in the season, and the driver that is on top, or the drivers that are on top at the end, are declared the Ironman champions. Now there's one catch: if you win a race in this series, you are not eligible for this championship, so it only takes into account non-race winners. So that gives again some of the drivers that are top 5, top 10, maybe even further down the grid, a chance to really fight for a championship. Plus it gives us some more leeway to or leverage to make people keep racing and not drop out. So that is very fun to see. So before we dive into the qualifying session, let's first have a look at the other two series that we will be running in this Almighty Autumn 2019 series, which is our DTM Championship, which will run on Sundays, starting the coming Sunday. This series is also fully subscribed, so all 36 spots are taken. And then on the right we also have our R Factor 2 series. So this GT3 and DTM championships are in race room racing experience. The other series, the BTCC championship, will be run in R Factor 2. That is currently not fully subscribed yet. There are still 7 spots left on the grid, so if you fancy having a go with us in short 2 times 25-minute races, sprint races with a reverse grid, then make sure to check out our website and sign up there and have some fun with us. So for today, as we said, we have our circuit, the Shanghai Grand Prix circuit, which most of you will probably know in from Formula 1. We have a very tricky first sector with the long winding turns, turns 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then it gets a bit faster, hard braking for turn 6. Might be a good opportunity to make a pass if you get a good exit from turn 3 and 4. Then the fast left-right combination setting you up for back straight, hard braking, and then a very long back straight with a good passing opportunity into the hairpin, and then already back over the finish line. Into turn 1 it will be a bit tougher to make a pass, but especially considering different strategies in this series, people with fresher tires could be trying a move in that section of the track. So that is something to watch out for. Now, enough slideshows for you. Let's see some action. Let's see some driving. Let's see some of these gorgeous GT3 cars here, as the drivers have 4 minutes left on the clock in the practice session. Vlastimir Lucas here, getting well out of shape there, out of that turn. And we also need to welcome all of our viewers tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions about the series, about the race, then feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will try to have a look and see if I can answer those. And there was already one question: why is transmission free choice and not manual? Well, manual is the quickest option, but we don't want to limit that choice. If people want to use a automatic transmission, they are allowed to do that, and it should provide some better racing for those people. Mostly automatic transmission is down to whether you can focus enough on that to make a good lap happen. If you think automatic transmission helps you with that, then you can use that. Pleased to report we have 32 drivers on the grid. Many of those were still on a other practice server just now, so not too many times were set yet, but topping the timing sheets at the moment is David Torre with a 2 minutes 3 seconds and 3 tenths of a second, so a 203.3, closely followed by Nikos Papamichail and our previous championship winner, GT3 championship winner, very dominantly, which was Robert Horvat. He is in the pits and driving the green and yellow Porsche 911. We also welcome quite a bit of new drivers, which are Nick Phillips. Welcome to the league. Jody Barraclaw, I also think we did not see him yet on the grid. Peter Hindle, Nigel Wood are new. Jack Camaletto is also his first league race in any case. Then we have Sasha Schult, I think he did one race already. Andre Moll is also new. Daniel O'Brien is new. Marcin Bos sounds familiar, so I think he did some driving as well already. So quite a bit of new drivers. They will have had their first drivers briefing just now from our league admin Simon Fillingham. Just talking about the ins and outs, the basic rules of the league. Of course, there are detailed rules on our website, which all the drivers need to read. But before every race, there's a short briefing, just outlining the basic rules, any specific things to take note of for this race, which could probably be the pit exit, where you have to have a bit of caution not to take someone out when coming out of the pits and maybe overshooting your braking marker. So that's not something you want to do. Also, what is always being discussed there, I'll show you a bit of more action, of course, is the gentleman's rule, which says, if you hit someone off in the first laps or during the race, it's always better to let your victim back past and try passing them in a correct manner. So the qualifying session starts, 15 minutes on the clock. There was Jack Camaletto. Let's have a quick look at the track map and see who is first out of the pit box. It's Andre Moll, one of the new drivers. So let's have a look at his lap. He's driving the Mercedes AMG, and let's see what he can do here in his first qualifying session. The Dutchman driving the Mercedes, and as I said, 32 drivers on the grid, so only 4 drivers missing from this first race, and there were already some absences noted by the drivers on the forum, so that's always something that we want to see. So just to recap, we have this 15-minute qualifying session that will order the grid for the 90-minute race. We will have a standing start. Let me quickly check. Yes, we have a standing start on this race. I checked because in the last seasons we had some quite some series with rolling starts. That will be different today, and that gives another kind of dimension to the race start, which will for sure be tricky with that well, closing radius lap at turn 1, first section. It will not be easy to go side by side there in any case. So let's see. Oh, Andre goes off track while going through the hairpin. That's not ideal, but I think he will be able to start his lap anyway. He's not the first driver anymore, but he gets going for his lap, although the counter is not going. So 203.3 by David Dore in the practice session is what we are looking at. Let's have a quick look at Sasha Schultz. He is now the first car on track, which will set a benchmark for the rest of the field. 55.3 in the first sector for him in the McLaren 650S, Garage 59 car. Jack Camaletto is his teammate. He's just behind Andre there, going to the left side of the track. Can Sasha get the braking for the hairpin just right? That's a very important spot to gain or lose time, and then onto the power as early as you can, and using all of the track there on the outside to get a good run through this last turn, which also in Formula 1 is very, very tough. Let's see what kind of lap he sets. That will be a quick one. It's a 203.9. That's not bad at all. Now all the times will be coming in. So let's see. Andre Mol 1 second behind. Manojlovic goes fastest. Papa Michael goes faster. Dore goes faster, 203.3. So he matches his practice best time in this session already. David Dore looking very, very good in his Audi R8 LMS. Steve Carman crosses the line in 9th position, already down to 12th now in the 13th in the Porsche 911. So everybody's setting their benchmark laps, and it's quite a long lap. So the drivers will not have that many chances to set a good qualifying lap. So that 203.3 by Dore, very closely followed by Papa Michael, is for sure a time to consider, let's say. We went back to Sasha Schultz. He is in 6th at the moment. Nuno Miguel Abreu, the Portuguese driver, did his debut in R Factor 2 Porsche Cup Series just a couple of weeks ago, and he's Going fastest in the first sector, fastest in the second sector. Only by a tiny bit, but he is very much on the pace also in his Mercedes. So let's see what lap time he produces here at the end of the lap. He only has 0.02 of a second in front of David Torre. So he needs a good run through this last sector, last turn here, and good grunt out of there. Will he take pole position there? Yes, he does. A 202.9. That's an absolute best there in this session. Very impressive. Putting 4/10 on David Torre. David, if I'm not mistaken, let me quickly check. He is a multiple driver champion. Is it 2 or 3 times? In any case, he is one of our top drivers. Nikos Papamichail also very close to that, and look at that spread of the times. It's very close, and there are still quite a lot of drivers. 7 in total that haven't set a lap yet, so they need to get that in as soon as possible, as we already got past the halfway point of this session. Nikos Papamichail improving massively on his first sector time, but then losing it in the second sector in the black and yellow Audi R8 LMS. Steve Carman improving quite a bit even on his own time. Also Callum Morgan making also the jump from the R Factor 2 series to this one, to our race room series. So it's nice to see drivers getting to know RRL in one championship and then branching out to others. Callum 25th at the moment. We know he did some good long run practice in the past couple of days, so he'll want to get a bit further up the grid in this qualifying session and then just get a good first race in to get some good points and get that over with. Across the line, and he stays 25th, so not a great third sector, it seems, for him. In any case, times are for sure not slow. Nick Phillips, he's also improving on his own times. And in the final sector now, he's in 23rd, 2.5 seconds behind the pole sitter at the moment. Nick will move up the grid, I think. Yes, he does, up to 11th. Nice job by him. 1.3 seconds behind Nuno Miguel Abreu. Peter Backus then, driving the same car he did in our previous GT3 season, and he was very much in the hunt of the championship there at the beginning of that championship in the opening races, picking up spots. He's up to P14 now, 1.6 second behind Abreu, and now it seems getting held up by the car in front of him. Stefano Merazzi, a driver who joined us in our Formula Race Room Junior Series during the summer, now taking it to the tin tops, 21st position at the moment. Quite a bit of drivers in the AM Cup as well. I'm gonna quickly check. I think the list of AM Cup drivers will be created when the first round has finished and we are sure that there is that there are no more signups. Signups are